Joe Biden put out a pretty aggressive ad against Bernie Sanders, but he did so with the context of unity in mind, which sounds ironic. Let's take a look at what the ad looked like.
If we spend the next 4 months dividing our party and going at each other, we will spend the next 4 years watching Donald Trump tear apart this country.
Joe and I have a very different vision for the future of this country.
Joe Biden. Joe has been in the Senate for a long time.
Joe voted for the. Joe and I are running very different campaigns.
No, that ad actually made me mad at Bernie, believe it or not.
Don't.
You know why?
Why?
Because he didn't attack Biden at all. In fact, he went out of his way to avoid attacking Biden, and they still used non-attacks as evidence of attacks in their ad.
Yeah.
So why not hit Biden where it hurts? Because he's got an incredibly flawed voting record. He's got issues that we've talked about on this show all day, and honestly, every time I bring it up, I feel bad because it's someone who is experiencing mental decline, and I don't like pointing that out about people, right? Like, because you feel like you're saying something insulting, but I'm not saying it to insult him. I'm saying it because he's running to be president of the United States. And you need someone who's not experiencing mental decline.
And they used a clip of Bernie saying, as if to suggest that Bernie is the one who isn't all there. Like they use a clip,
yes.
And it is accuse the other person of that which you yourself are doing. Don't tempt me tomorrow on the show. Wait till I make a version of that ad that points out all the times. I mean, and this is the ad. This is what it's going to be. I'm sorry, I'm going to tip the joke, but it's all the people endorsing Joe Biden. This will be the clips. Those Amy Klobuchars, we need someone who can unite the party. Cut to Joe Biden going, corn pop, bad dude. It was, and it's Kamala Harris hostage video saying, I like Joe because I think I got the vice presidency, but Corey endorsed yesterday. And then it cuts to Joe going, the preamble, the thing. It cuts to him because that is Joe Biden's problem. And I hate to say it, I'm gonna say it here because we're all friends, but Joe Biden's problem is that everyone thinks he's capable of doing stuff that he never did. They think that he did stuff that he never did. And he is that empty vessel. It's like they would vote, I mean, they're wanting people to vote for a shoe over Donald Trump.
Yep.
And you didn't have to get something that cognitively is about the level of a shoe.
So yeah,
Yep.
we're gonna keep telling the truth, and we're gonna get roasted. So that's the reality.
Well, that's like uncharted territory.
I know it'll be new for us. I would vote against Donald Trump if it was a shoe. I'd vote for the shoe, and I would counsel you to vote for the shoe. That being said, we shouldn't have picked the shoe, and I guarantee you later they will blame me in specific, this show, and all other progressives for Joe Biden's mental decline. We're the ones who warned against it. We said we're headed straight towards an iceberg. And when we hit the iceberg, they will say the Young Turks did it.
It's insane. That was
It's insane, but I lived through that insanity before. We said Hillary Clinton is the most establishment candidate that's ever been. People don't like the establishment. We're worried she's gonna lose. She does lose, we were right, and we're rewarded with hatred for the rest of our lives by the establishment who picked her and who ignored our warnings, and they said it's your fault for pointing out her problems that you accurately assessed. How dare you? Stop being accurate. So they'll do it again with Biden, but that dude's headed straight into an iceberg. They're trying to prevent a debate on Sunday. Yeah. And the first thing that happened today is as soon as Biden took the lead in Michigan, Clyburn put out a statement saying there should be no more debates. They know his mental decline, but you cannot stop the debates in the general election. We have 8 months until November. He's gonna be exposed, and when he's exposed, we're gonna be right, but it's gonna be, we're not gonna take any joy in it. We're not like the bad guys on the other side, meaning the establishment. Like when Bernie loses, they take unbelievable joy in it. We're not gonna take any joy out of it. Poor Joe Biden. His staff should have never let him get into this situation. But I'm gonna get a job at the White House. power, precious, right? And all those people who endorse him, they know. Cory Booker endorsed him. Cory Booker talked about his mental decline on TV months ago. They know. They did it anyway because power is precious.
When it comes to that ad, Brett, you talked about how you notice things, and people who make these or put together compilations and all that, there's little cues you look for. You look for the narrative that's looking to be said. So when you look closely, because you see this stuff, you go, man, there was nothing there. As we've all pointed out, there was nothing there. There was even a section of him saying Joe 5 to 6 times. That's not a point. Hannity does these on his compilations. They'll be like, all the Democrats do is talk about Russia, and they have them going Russia. Russia is a country, and then people say it when they're referring to it. Doesn't mean who knows what they're talking about when they said it. Yeah. It doesn't mean that it's a point coming from something that he said about him. So if he's running in a primary and someone says the name Joe, it's simply because there's this guy named Joe that's running in the primary. I can put an hour-long compilation together of everyone in this primary that said the name Bernie. And if I put it with a black and white tint to it and put some ominous music behind it, they'll go Bernie, Bernie. I'll slow it down and go Bernie. And it doesn't make any difference.
To give Jayar credit, like I've worked on shows that have like the thing that Fox uses, which they literally Jayar has to go through the clips and find them and put them together like himself. And on Fox, they literally have a program that you type in the word Joe, and it will give you that clip. So they're spending way less time than you even think it takes to just find like Russia, 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 Joe, and they're just slapping it together and doing that. It's literally called bad TV effect.
If you watch it go fast, they figure the stupidity of Americans. No, I'm not saying Americans are stupid. They think you're stupid enough to put that out, and people go, man, I saw that 30-second ad, and man, Bernie Sanders said Joe 6 times.
But you know what could overcome ads like that? If the electorate is fully aware of how disastrous Joe Biden's record really is.
This is what they
And one good way, look, the mainstream media is not gonna cover that, we know that. But one good way of getting that message out is to unapologetically attack Biden's record, right? Don't back off, especially when the mainstream media comes out and starts crying about, oh, Bernie's being mean about how Biden tried to cut Social Security like 5 times. That's mean. Yeah, damn right it's mean. You know what's even meaner? To see elderly people out on the streets because you've taken their Social Security away. That's meaner.
Well, this is the problem.
But Biden's, not Biden, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. But Bernie is like, Joe is my friend, everybody. Let's play patty cakes.
That's senator stuff.
Get rid of the senator stuff, right? I mean, it might be too late at this point, but
it is too late.
I think I'm the little person.
It's not that he's going to lose too late. It's too late to go negative now.
Definitely too late to go negative.
And maybe if they're going to paint you as a big POS who's an angry person who's being so mean, no matter what. I think doing it anyway, which by the way, I'm okay with going after the record, but I'm also okay with doing it without snarling. Because as much as we don't want to admit it, there's people and there's voters that we need in this country who will just hear a tone and go, yeah, I don't like it. And then they won't vote for you. So in doing that, you at least want to try. I feel like we wouldn't even be trying if we just go, go and start punching in the face. Like, I'm not saying don't go against his record, definitely hit his record, but you can say Joe's my friend, but he's wrong on this. You can then go in depth. But the problem is we don't think longer than 5 seconds and we hear them go, Joe's my friend. That's when people stop listening.
What if voters in every state so far cited as the top quality that they're looking for in the nominee?
Beating Donald Trump.
Beating Donald Trump. You know what really messages I could beat Donald Trump? Strength, right? Unapologetic strength, okay? Showing that Trump isn't gonna bully me on a debate stage. I'm gonna overpower him, I'm gonna come after him. But maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But what I do know for sure is the conciliatory, friendly, Joe is my friend stuff has not worked.
Does anyone remember
But I'm sorry, Brett, so who are we appealing to is the only thing I'm wondering. So if you have your base, and we know Bernie Sanders' base is on board because of policy, right? Who were you're trying to get your voting base to be larger so you can win. Obviously, that's how it works. If you get angry, which American's gonna say, man, when they got mad, I liked them now.
There's a difference between anger.
There's a Cenk Uygur that likes that.
No, but there's a difference between anger and strength, right? I think anger shows like you can't control your emotions, calm down a little bit.
Joe Biden gets angry all the
Joe
time.
Biden does get angry all the time.
And they
the
love it when he
mainstream
does
media is
it.
going out of its way to like either like repackage that as something that's good or just hide it and not cover it at all.
Yeah.
But there's again a difference between getting angry and combative and being strong. And the thing is, when you have the truth on your side, right? You can make your argument in a strong way and be unapologetic about it when the mainstream and the corporate Democrats come after you, right? Like I think that's the distinction. Look, I'll give you an example. Whenever I'm up against some corporate Democrat on one of these Cuomo segments, it's crazy the kind of messages I get. There was a lifelong Republican voter who found me on LinkedIn because he wanted to message me so badly about my performance in one of the segments. And he's like, look, I actually can't stand Trump. I've never voted for a Democrat, and so I'm trying to figure out who to vote for. He's like, you made such a compelling case, and guess what? I was strong. I wasn't angry. I didn't get like hostile, but I knew that the facts were on my side. I could make that case in a strong way. I mean, Fiddy trying to pretend like, oh, Bernie Sanders, he goes low, look at him, these attacks, against Hillary Clinton and this and that. You bring up what Hillary Clinton did to Obama. That was the truth, right? Putting out that photo of him in Kenya wearing a turban. That's what she did. But most people don't know about that.
But it's the trick of politics. Like that's what you have to learn to message to accomplish. And it's much harder for us than it is for them because theirs is the status quo. The messages have already been established. The narratives have already been set. We have to find a way. It's tough. And both sides, I hate to say both sides, but both sides do this. Both sides, as you just saw, they view us as a problem, but not a problem to be solved. Not someone to reach out their hand to. I'll tell you the secret to progressives: policy.
Yes,
That's
thank
it.
you.
Because
not hard.
On the left, it's flipped.
Yeah,
No, it's flipped. It's flipped. So you say Social Security, Social Security. It used to be you say Social Security. It's the third rail of politics. You mention it and you lose. But on the left, and I talk to Silicon Valley moderate Democrats a lot, and those Silicon Valley moderate Democrats just want rhetoric. They just want fuzzy, happy, positive rhetoric.
Yeah, that's
the progressives,
why they love Buttigieg.
and they loved Buttigieg. And this is a guy. He loves Buttigieg. And then the base of the Democratic left wants good policy. On the Republican side, it's flipped. On the Republican side, the far right base, Trump's base, just wants rhetoric. The ones way over here want rhetoric, and the Paul Ryans of the world just want policy. And they've realized when Crystal Ball's talking about like the flawless integration of new media and old media on the right, all they know is they just dump a ton of money into stupid rhetoric, giving money to everyone and just saying like, here's 4 talking points of rhetoric and saying, oh, they're coming after your guns, they're coming after this, and protecting your religion, and that's it. And what Elizabeth Warren and her advisors did not learn, but thought they had figured out the middle lane on. If you had progressives. You had progressives by having progressive policies. All you needed to do, instead of changing your policies to be more moderate, you needed to change your rhetoric to be more, hey, the moderates, I'm here for you and I believe in it. I believe we're gonna protect gay rights. We're gonna do things for minorities. We're gonna do great things because those Silicon Valley moderates and all those folks that profess themselves to be suburbans in the middle just wanna feel like they're helping and not that it's too hard to do. They just want to sign their name on something and being like, I'm going to go back to pick the kids up from soccer practice and I'm attached now because your thing seems easy for me.
I don't think they're representative of the Democratic electorate. I think that they are a portion of the Democratic electorate, but they live in their own little privileged, wealthy bubble.
Who is?
The Silicon Valley people, right? I get that they want to feel warm and fuzzy because they're not dealing with what the working class is dealing with. Exactly. So my point is, again, people want someone who they see as electable. People want someone who they see can go up against Donald Trump and beat him. The only reason why a portion of the Democratic electorate, I guess the majority, thinks that Biden is the most electable against Donald Trump is because that's what they've been told over and over again, nonstop since the beginning, almost the beginning of this primary, since he stepped in the primary.
By the same people who told them that Hillary Clinton was the most electable.
Exactly.
And would definitely beat Donald Trump. But it's alternative facts and they don't care. Look,
No, I know, but let me finish my point. My point is, Bernie has more challenges than any other candidate because of what he represents. And so he's got to break through that propaganda by showing people that he's the strongest, showing people he's the most electable up against Donald Trump. And even though he's had the right policies, even though I agree he's been smeared nonstop in the media and that's worked against him, he's got to take ownership of how he played it wrong in trying to be so polite with the very people that were punching him in the face throughout this entire primary.
So you thought he was pulling punches on policy?
No, I think his policies are great. My point
I mean,
is
as far as conveying them. I'm talking about conveying them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
And-
It's so sad. It's so depressing. You just have to be like, what do you want, man?
So look, guys, it's easy to do hindsight because they almost had this thing won 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was almost over. And it changed so quickly. So we're being a little bit unfair, not only including me, but primarily me, by saying they should have done it differently, they should have gone negative earlier, etc. But with the benefit of hindsight, there's no question that they should have had Bernie Sanders highlight Joe Biden's terrible record more in the debates and stuff. Why? Look, this is super important. Look, when I ran, something happened that a lot of things happened that I didn't expect, but one of them was the smear and leave. So I thought they would smear and allow me to counter, right? I knew they would smear, but I thought I'd get a chance to counter. But what I didn't expect is, you're a racist, sexist, horrible person, right? Yep, got it. Okay, and they take the mic away and put it away, and then you don't have a chance because you can't reach the people in that district. So you could do a national show, but we also did unilateral disarmament there. But you can't. If the LA Times doesn't talk to you or talks to you and won't quote you or quotes you out of context, you have no chance at all. Now, on the other hand, the one thing Bernie Sanders had, he had all the media against him, just like every progressive does. And he had, and his advisors and his strategists and surrogates were all smeared and all delegitimized, etc. But he himself had a mic. He did. Yeah. He had it in the debates. He had it in national interviews. His only option was an uncomfortable one, which is use that mic to hit Biden and hit him hard, but not unfairly. I would never sanction an unfair attack, one, because it's wrong, but two, because it wouldn't work. But there were 1,000 fair attacks on his record. And the brief times that he had the mic, he didn't do it. And it might be hindsight, but it is real.
Maybe because Biden was looking so bad, he's like, people going after the front runner in debates. In debates, you're like, that's the front runner. The fact that he was so struggling so much, it was like, oh, Biden's already done. And he overlooked him, then suddenly Super Tuesday hits.
What day was that gonna happen? And the answer is, and I was saying this during breaks, like be prepared for South Carolina to mean everything, be prepared for South Carolina to mean everything. And it did. And I guess knowing that he was relying on the firewall of South Carolina, and I thought that fight was won already. I mean, the only thing I suggested was in a debate when Joe Biden has that moment, and I think Trump will do it if they go head to head and debate. And I'm not counting out Joe Biden getting rid of just not going. Is him going, is waiting for Biden to say something stupid and just going, are you okay? And I think that
100%. I already thought of that. I'm positive he's going to say that. I would say it. I would say it. Bernie wouldn't say it. So. But Bernie, look. Last thing, we got to go. Yeah. And we're going to come back. We still have a state of Washington that's going to close in 2 minutes. We'll give you results, etc. But guys, I'm not trying to criticize Bernie like, oh, he did a bad job. It was an incredibly, overwhelmingly difficult thing, and he had to climb 7,000 hills to get there. I'm saying this stuff so we learn from it and we do it differently next time. If anyone in the media ever gives a progressive a mic, especially long-term, like Bernie had it for a while. If you have it once, maybe you could say something once and then they take it away, right? But if you got a candidate that has the mic for a while, use the goddamn mic to make your case 100% as forcefully as you can. Because the minute they can, they'll take that mic away from you and then you got no chance at all. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges, You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.